He was not born a warrior. He was forged into one, slowly, painfully, in the quiet places where no applause existed. They called him Kaito, a young man haunted by the noise of his own mind, a mind that chased 100 paths, yet mastered none, a spirit that trembled before fear, ego, and distraction. One night, after losing himself again in cycles of rage and regret, he fled into the mountains, seeking a silence he could not name. There, among the stone winds and moonlit pines, he met a wandering monk known only as the Rowan Master, a man whose presence felt like standing before an ancient system of discipline older than memory. The monk said only this: "Your mind is a blade, but you carry it dull." Thus began Kaito's initiation into the silent path, a ruthless stoic method for sharpening awareness, mastering emotion, and walking with unshakable presence, a path where every breath is training, every hardship is teaching, and every fear is a gate toward transformation. This is the story of a lost man becoming a warrior of the spirit, not through violence, but through precision, silence, and mastery of the self. Chapter 1. On the noise within, confronting the untrained mind. The mountain does not welcome visitors, it tests them. And so when Kaito climbed the final ridge, breath thin, legs trembling, heart carrying a lifetime of unrest, the mountain answered with silence. A silence so total it felt like a presence, a mirror, a judgment. Snow clung to the edges of stone. Pines leaned like ancient sentinels. Wind moved softly across the ridgeline, whispering truths that men spend years trying not to hear. Kaito paused, chest heaving, palms raw from gripping rock. He had run from the world, but it was his own mind he could not escape. He reached the temple gates, simple wooden beams weathered by storms, carved with a single symbol, Ji, to stop. Before he could knock, the old gate slid open. Rowan Master stood there, thin, unmoving, wrapped in a gray robe that held the quiet authority of a man who had defeated his inner storms long ago. Rowan didn't greet him, didn't ask his name, didn't bow. He simply looked at Kaito with eyes that saw everything. Finally, he spoke, low, steady, like a blade drawn slowly from its sheath. "The noise you carry arrived before you did." Kaito lowered his gaze. "I came to learn discipline," he said. "I want to sharpen my mind, else it becomes stronger." Rowan turned and walked deeper into the temple, gesturing without looking back. "If you seek strength, first learn silence." Inside, the temple was nearly barren. Stone floors, wooden pillars, no ornaments, no distractions. A space shaped not for comfort, but for confrontation. Rowan stopped beside a small mat facing a blank wall. "Sit," Kaito obeyed. "No speaking, no movement, no food until nightfall. You will confront the untrained mind." Kaito swallowed. "For how long?" Rowan closed his eyes. "Until the noise inside you becomes unbearable." At first, Kaito sat with determination. He thought discipline meant endurance, and endurance meant force. But minutes passed, then more. And slowly, the silence around him stopped being peaceful. It became loud, painfully loud. His thoughts swarmed. Accusations, doubts, memories he'd buried. "You're wasting your life. You never finish anything. You think discipline will magically make you worthy." His chest tightened. His leg twitched. He wanted to stand, to walk, to escape, but there was nowhere to run. Not in a room this empty, not in a mind this full. Rowan's voice broke the chaos, quiet but immovable. "Now, you can see the enemy." Kaito opened his eyes in confusion. "Enemy?" Rowan knelt beside him. "Your mind is undisciplined, wild, addicted to stimulation, terrified of stillness, As long as you cannot sit with yourself, you will be ruled by impulses you pretend you control. Kaito's breath shook. Rowan continued. Modern men believe their suffering comes from the world, but suffering comes from the mind's refusal to be seen. The words struck deeper than any criticism Kaito had ever heard. He realized he had spent years outrunning silence, burying himself in noise, work, distractions, vices, because silence revealed the truth. He did not know who he was nor the path he walked, and facing that truth felt like standing naked in a blizzard. But this was the first lesson: awareness, the foundation of mastery. As Rowan rose to leave, he said, "Sit until the noise breaks you or reveals you. Only then will we begin." Kaito closed his eyes again, trembling not from cold, but from recognition. The first battle had begun. Chapter 2, The Discipline Forge, Break-in Patterns, Building Presence. Dawn arrived without color, only a pale wash of light sliding across the temple floor where Kaito had collapsed after a night of battling the storm inside his skull. His body ached, but something had shifted, not peace, not clarity, but an awareness sharp enough to sting. Rowan Master approached with slow, deliberate steps. He did not ask how Kaito felt. He did not congratulate him for surviving. He simply placed a wooden bucket at Kaito's feet. Inside it, cold water, a brush, a stone. "Come," Rowan said. "Today, we forge discipline." Kaito followed him into the outer courtyard, where frost still clung to the earth. Rows of wooden beams, stone weights, and simple tools lay arranged with military precision. "This is the ancient system used by warriors long before you," Rowan said. "But it is not your muscles we shape, it is your spirit." Kaito nodded, still shivering. Rowan pointed to the first station, a heavy wooden pillar scarred by decades of strikes. Presence before pressure. You will strike the pillar 100 times, each blow with full awareness, breath, intention, posture. Kaito clenched his fists. "Only 100? Rowan's eyes hardened. "If you seek numbers, you have already abandoned the path." Kaito lowered his head. "Yes, Master." He positioned himself before the pillar. Breath in, breath out, strike. Pain flared through his knuckles. Rowan observed. "You strike with force, but not with presence. Force without presence is violence. Presence without force is hesitation. A warrior needs both." Kaito tried again, slower, intentional. Feeling the movement from foot to fist, Rowan nodded once. "Good, continue." Hours passed, the sun rose higher. Kaito's hands throbbed, bones aching with each impact. Rowan offered no praise, no correction, only silence, the space for a man to confront his limitations. When the strikes were done, Rowan led him to the next trial, carrying 2 buckets of water up the steep stone stairway. "This strengthens the spine," Rowan said, "but more importantly, it strengthens the decision to continue when the body begs to quit." Kaito gripped the buckets and lifted. The weight jolted his shoulders. Every step up the stairs burned. Halfway up, he faltered. "Master, my arms." Rowan cut him off. "Discipline begins where comfort ends." Kaito gritted his teeth. He climbed. By midday, his muscles trembled without command. His breath rasped. Sweat mixed with cold wind until his skin felt aflame. Rowan placed a hand on his shoulder, not soft, but steady. "Now you begin to understand. Discipline is not punishment. It is the scaffold that holds your potential in place until your spirit grows strong enough to support itself." Kaito looked down at his bloodied hands, his shaking legs. "Master, Why does it feel like everything inside me is resisting this? Rowan answered without hesitation. Because weakness is familiar, and the body clings to familiarity, even when it destroys you. Kaito lowered his head. He understood. Discipline was not about becoming better than others. It was about becoming better than the man he had been yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. Rowan stepped back and gestured to the courtyard. Again. Chapter 3, Fear is the Gate, Entering the Chamber of Shadows. Night folded over the mountain like a black veil, and with it came a silence different from the day's discipline. This silence was heavier, older, the kind that stirred things men spent their entire lives avoiding. Kaito sat at the threshold of the temple, muscles still trembling from training, when Rowan approached carrying a single lantern. Its dim glow flickered across the old master's face, casting shadows deep enough to hold secrets. "You have built discipline," Rowan said. "You have learned presence under strain. Now we enter the realm that breaks most men." Kaito swallowed. The air felt colder. Rowan turned, lantern swinging gently in his hand, and began walking toward the back of the temple compound, a place Kaito had never seen the master open. A small wooden door waited there, carved with the symbol Ying, shadow. Kaito's breath caught. "Master, what is this place?" Rowan paused. "The Chamber of Shadows, a room with no enemies except the ones you bring inside." He slid the door open. Darkness yawned beyond, dense, suffocating, as if the room swallowed light itself. Rowan stepped aside. "Enter." Kaito hesitated. "What am I supposed to do inside?" Rowan's answer was a blade. "Nothing. You will sit, and your fear will teach you." Kaito felt his chest tighten, the instinct to refuse rising like fire in his throat. Rowan watched him quietly. "Fear is a gate, Kaito. Warriors walk through it. Cowards build homes in front of it." Kaito stepped forward. The door closed behind him. Darkness engulfed him. Not night darkness, not blindness. This was a darkness with weight, alive and ancient, as if it had studied every weakness in the human heart. Kaito sat where the floor met the void. At first, he heard nothing but his own breathing. Slow, uneven, but then whispers, not from outside, from inside. His mind, unanchored by sight, began dragging memories to the surface. The argument he ran from, the expectations he failed to meet, the people he disappointed, the dream he feared he'd never become. Each thought sharpened, illuminated by the darkness like stars seen clearer without the moon. His pulse quickened, his palms sweat, his breath shallowed. This was not discipline training. This was exposure, raw, merciless exposure, to the things he used motion and noise to avoid. A voice echoed inside his skull. "You're not enough. You never were. You're pretending you can change." Kaito clenched his fists, nails digging into skin. His heartbeat thundered against his ribs. He wanted to stand, to flee, to shout for Rowan. But the darkness swallowed his movement, absorbed his panic, forced him inward. Then another voice, Rowan's voice, spoken earlier but remembered now with piercing clarity. "Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a messenger showing you where strength must be built." Kaito inhaled slowly. He listened. He did not fight the images, he let them rise. The failures, the shame, the doubts, all of it. And as each fear surfaced, something unexpected happened. It passed. It dissolved, like a wave breaking on stone. He wasn't free of fear, but he was no longer its captive. For the first time in his life, he saw fear not as a threat, but as insight, a compass, a teacher. And as this realization settled into his bones, the darkness around him changed, not lighter, but less suffocating. As if it too recognized that he was no longer running. Hours passed, or minutes, or lifetimes. Time did not exist in the chamber of shadows. But when the door finally slid open behind him, Rowan's lantern appeared like the returning sun. Kaito rose slowly. Rowan studied his face, expression unreadable. "Now," the master said softly, "you begin to see the warrior within." Chapter 4, The Death of Ego, Reforging the Warrior Spirit. By the time Kaito emerged from the Chamber of Shadows, the mountain air felt different, sharper, cleaner, as though the world itself acknowledged the shift within him. Yet Rowan Master's eyes held no praise, only assessment, only truth. "Kaito," Rowan said as they walked into the training courtyard, "you have faced fear. Good, but fear is not the final barrier." He stopped beside a stone basin filled with still water. "You will now confront the opponent that defeats more warriors than hunger, injury, or darkness combined." Kaito leaned closer. The basin reflected his face, tired, bruised, yet proud. Rowan spoke. "Ego." The word struck harder than any blow. Rowan gestured to the reflection. "Tell me what you see." Kaito hesitated. "A man who's learning, a man becoming stronger." Rowan's voice sharpened. "Or a man who believes he is becoming something, and therefore clings to the identity of a student, a fighter, a future hero." Kaito looked down. Rowan continued. "Ego does not just say, 'I am great.' Ego also says, 'I am broken. I am unworthy. I am trying. I am becoming.' All are attachments. All are chains." The master lifted the basin slightly and the water trembled. Kaito's reflection blurred. "A warrior's spirit grows when the ego dissolves," Rowan said, "when he stops narrating who he is and simply is." Kaito breathed out slowly. "How do I kill the ego, master?" Rowan almost smiled. "You do not kill it, you starve it." The day's training began with a ritual Kaito had never seen, one designed not for the body, but for the mind's deepest illusions. Rowan placed 3 stones before him. One represents praise, one represents failure, one represents identity. He pointed to the first. "Lift the stone of praise." Kaito picked it up. It was light. Now the stone of failure. He lifted it, slightly heavier. And the stone of identity. Kaito lifted the third, much heavier, dense, dark, cold. Rowan nodded. Praise and failure matter little, but identity, the story you cling to, burdens you more than any weight. He led Kaito to the stone steps. "You will carry only the 3rd stone to the summit, not as punishment, as revelation." Kaito gripped the stone to his chest and began climbing. At first, he tried to think strong, disciplined thoughts. "I can do this. I've endured worse. My training has prepared me." But halfway up, his arms shook, his breath faltered. Thoughts became desperate. "I'm not strong enough. Why is this so heavy? I thought I was improving." Rowan, following behind him, struck the steps with his staff. "Listen to yourself," he said. "Every thought begins with I. Every struggle is filtered through identity. Drop the story. Climb without a self." Kaito closed his eyes, sweat dripping from his chin. No self, no identity, just climbing. He rose, not faster, not stronger, but steadier. His mind no longer argued with him, no longer performed for him, no longer panicked. He climbed because climbing was the only task, the only reality. When he reached the summit, he placed the stone down gently. not as a burden released, but as something understood. He turned to Rowan. I don't know what happened. Rowan touched the stone. You glimpsed life without ego's voice, a moment of pure existence. That is the warrior spirit. Kaito felt the truth reverberate inside him, quiet, powerful, humbling. This wasn't victory, it was beginning, and Rowan knew it. He stepped aside and gestured down the mountain path. Part 2 awaits, and it will demand more humility than strength. Chapter 5, The Silent Path, Awakening. Ruthless mental precision. Dawn on the mountain was a ceremony of its own, soft gold spilling over the ridges, the kind of light that does not merely illuminate, but reveals. Kaito stood outside the temple in the cold morning air, feeling the quiet settle inside him like a second heartbeat. He had endured discipline. He had walked through fear. He had tasted ego's death. But Rowan Master warned him. Transformation is not the end. Precision is the awakening that follows. Today, Kaito would face the principle for which the silent path existed. Rowan approached with a long staff carved from cedar, its surface smooth from years of practice. Not a weapon, a tool. Today, Rowan said, you learn ruthless mental precision, the clarity from which all decisive action is born. Kaito bowed. Teach me. Rowan placed the staff in Kaito's hands. Hold it still. Kaito raised the staff into position, balanced, centered. But Rowan stepped behind him and whispered, stillness is not the absence of movement. Stillness is the absence of noise. With no warning, Rowan struck the ground near Kaito's feet. Kaito flinched. His grip wavered. The staff dipped. Rowan circled him like a silent hawk. Your mind broke before your stance did. He struck again, this time to Kaito's left. Kaito tensed, again, behind him. Kaito tightened his shoulders, again, closer. Each small shock exposed a hidden reaction. Fear, anticipation, flinch, doubt, projection, memory. Rowan was not testing Kaito's body. He was revealing the microfractures in his awareness. Every movement your mind makes without command, Rowan said, is a leak of power. Kaito breathed through the tension. He tried to stay calm, but the master's strikes kept pulling him into chaotic anticipation, imagining the next strike, bracing for it, reacting before it happened. Rowan read every flinch. The undisciplined mind reacts to ghosts, he said. It fights imagined threats, relives old wounds, rehearses future disasters. Such a mind cannot cut cleanly through life. The staff in Kaito's hands suddenly felt heavier, not because of the wood, but because he understood the weight of his own mental noise. How do I stop reacting? Kaito asked. Rowan touched Kaito's chest lightly with 2 fingers. Presence, precision, now. He struck again, swift, sharp, but this time Kaito didn't flinch, not out of force, but out of clarity. He wasn't suppressing fear. He was simply here. Rowan's eyes narrowed with approval. Kaito, what changed? I stopped predicting, he said. I stopped remembering. I stopped fighting the moment. I just existed. Rowan nodded slowly. That is ruthless mental precision, a mind with no wasted motion. The training deepened. Blindfolded, Kaito listened for the shift of air, the crunch of stone beneath Rowan's sandals, not to anticipate, but emerge with the environment as a single field of awareness. Breathing became a metronome. Footsteps became signals. Silence became information. Rowan struck, and Kaito's staff intercepted the blow, not with brute force, but with effortless clarity. Rowan pressed harder. Kaito adjusted, not thinking, not analyzing, simply responding with presence. When the blindfold finally came off, Rowan bowed, not as a teacher to a student, but as a warrior acknowledging another warrior's awakening. Kaito, now you walk the silent path. Kaito felt no pride, only a profound stillness, a stillness that sharpened everything. The wind, his breath, his intention. He was no longer the man who had arrived on this mountain seeking discipline. He was a blade, not aggressive, not violent, but precise. And precision is power without noise. If Kaito's journey echoed something inside you, then walk the path with us. Subscribe, like the video, and share this with someone who needs silence more than comfort. Your mind is a blade, and the sharpening has only just begun.